time for our first act, okay? Really, really cool, really great guy. Please, massive, 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 massive round of applause. Mr. Gurjot, Sidhu!
All right. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Awesome. The Englishman sends out the Indian to test the waters, huh? Colonialism hasn't quite died out yet, has it? But okay, so before we get started, we need to address the elephant in the room, right? You sir over there, what's your name? Ankit. Ankit. Okay, now that we've addressed the elephant in the room, let's move on. I'm just kidding, man. You're in great shape, you know? For an elephant. I'm just kidding, man. It's just banter, you know? Thanks for coming, really. You should go out more often, you know? Like to the gym or something. I'm just kidding. Big round of applause for Ankit, please. Yeah! Okay, so... Hello, my name is Gurjot, and I came to Switzerland to study at ETH. But they had a mix-up with my visa, so now I have a full-time job to make people on the streets uncomfortable. It's very easy, really. All I have to do is say the magic word. Allahu Akbar! That didn't work, right? Yeah, when it works, it's a real blast. I'm just kidding. So, today I want to talk about some dark stuff. You know? I want to talk about things that keep me awake at nights. I want to talk about the dark underbelly of the world. Indians. And I'm qualified for this job because I look like this. And that's all you need to establish your authority on the subject, you know? In fact, I've been told that with my glasses on, I look like the guy who designs the bomb. And with my glasses off, I look like the guy who tests the bomb. But really, you know, people here, they're so not used to seeing me. When I first moved to Zurich, people would look at me all the time, you know, presumably because they'd never seen a Sikh man before. But then they got used to it, and then I got a bike. And they started looking at me all over again because they'd never seen a Sikh man on a bicycle before. It's like walking in a glass display chamber at all times. And we all know how much the Germans love putting people in chambers, don't we? But really, you know, I've become really famous in this place, you know. I've reached a level of stardom so far only possessed by leprechauns and unicorns, you know. And sometimes I think like I'm the spaghetti monster, but with curry and tandoori paste, you know, because I'm Indian. When I go to Cope and I'm standing at the cheese counter, this particularly good-natured Swiss lady will quietly move her kids away from me. I don't even eat cheese. I just like to go stand there to piss her off, you know? But this one time, this black guy moved his kids away from me. I was heartbroken. I'm like, brother, you too? We're supposed to be in this together. What are you doing? It's not like I'm a pedophile. I'm not Catholic. I don't meet the requirements for the job. You know, Catholics believe that all humans have great potential, which is why they like to harness it while they're still young. 8-year-old boys are favorite. You know, I made this Catholic pedophilia joke once, and this American guy came up to me later and he's like, hey, not all of us God-loving Christians are like that. You can't blame all of us for what a handful of us did. And I'm like, really? Because that's exactly what the Muslims have been trying to tell you for the last 40 years. Yeah. But I really wanted to learn about Christianity, you know, and since I work as a tutor at the Institute of Religious Studies at the University of Zurich, I Googled it. And the first search result was this website called Christianity.com. And on that website, in large bold letters, was the header that said, popular topics. I'm like, that's a good place to start. Number 1, suffering and evil. Number 2, Satan. Number 3, rapture, the end of times. Number 4, what I guess is the reason for the existence of the previous 3, LGBT. And okay, here's my opinion on the LGBTQ community. We need to stop calling them the LGBTQ community. I read a research by the National Bureau of Economic Research in the United States that found 20% of American citizens identify as homosexual. 20%, that's 1 in 5 people. I'm pretty sure 2 in 5 people are blithering idiots, but we don't call them the idiot community, do we? Instead, we call them politicians or like stand-up comedians. But let me tell you guys, who here has been to India? Yeah, you've been? So, when did you go? 3 years ago. Did you get something for yourself from India? Did you get something for yourself from India?
Well, I worked there for a year and a half, so I
Oh.
a lot of things. Friends.
Okay, yeah, so what did you get? Malaria?
No.
Yay. Did you get a pressure cooker?
No.
Oh man, pressure cookers. Do you people know what pressure cookers are? They're my favorite invention. You know, nothing scares a white man more than the sound of a pressure cooker. And I don't get it. I mean, you guys invented the steam engine and went so far as to the atomic bomb, yet you shit your pants at the sound of a pressure cooker like an Indian at the immigration check. Just doesn't add up. But I love pressure cookers, you know. What a brown thing, no? Pressure cookers. They're loud. They may explode at any time. But they still make your life easy. What a brown thing, right? And I love to cook. So I love pressure cookers, and this one day I was cooking and this European friend was passing by and he's like, this smells so good. What's in it? Flavor. And I get asked this all the time. They're like, you're Indian. What place do you recommend in Zurich for Indian food? My place. Let me tell you guys something about India, okay? Because I get asked this all the time. I thought I might as well just tell you guys before you ask me. So, here's the thing. In India, the idea of foreplay is dinner, right? Like we go like, my dear flower who will one day bear the seeds of my progeny. That's how we address our wives. My dear flower who will one day bear the seeds of my progeny, you have made chicken curry. We will make 2 babies tonight. That's how it works in India, right? And thinking about India, I was wondering, why doesn't India have daylight savings time? Right? In case you didn't know, India does not have daylight savings time. And I think it's because we're not equipped as a society to deal with the manifolds of time. You know, here you know October 28th, the clocks are going to go back 1 hour. In India, by the time you let everyone know, it's already New Year. And by the time every single billion of us changes the clock, it's already spring and time to go forward again. Right? You take a flight here in Europe, and the announcements are like, ladies and gentlemen, we are 30 minutes ahead of schedule, we'll land in 7 minutes. In India, by God's grace, we will land. Whenever he thinks the time is right. We look at time differently than everybody else on the planet, you know? But I love India, man. Love the place, love being Indian. And okay, now, this may come as a surprise to you guys, but I don't get laid very much. I know, good-looking guy like me with an exceptional knack for comedy. I should be getting laid left, right, and center. Nope. Okay, I'll admit it. With this face of a 30-year-old and the general demeanor of a 13-year-old, I don't have much going for me, right? So, I'm clearly not well-versed when it comes to women. Let me tell you something, and this is true. This is cross my heart and I hope to die kind of true. Up until about a year ago, I genuinely believed that all women, at all times, smell nice. They don't. Imagine my horror when I made out with this girl whose breath somehow smelled rancid. You know? It was like a dream shattering, like a kid whose ice cream fell on the floor. But I've thought about it. I've identified the problem, and I think part of the reason I have this problem is because I'm too nice. That's the problem. I'm too nice. I'm the kind of guy who says thank you after sex. I swear, this one time I sent a girl a $50 Amazon gift card for all her troubles. She used the gift card to buy me a box of deodorants. Top marks for subtlety there. But then there's the problem that I'm too nice, I'm too honest. You know? When I was finishing high school, there was this girl who had a thing for me, and while we were finishing high school, she decided to do something about it, and one day after recess, she cornered me and she tried to lean in for a kiss, and I moved away. I said I couldn't do it, because I really had to take a piss. And you know, most men, they can get away from a bad sexual experience, you know, like, cut your hair short, grow your beard out, you're fairly unrecognizable. Not me. I've looked this way since puberty. Right? Which, okay, admittedly was not so long ago, but it's still a problem, right? And then the final nail in the coffin is the fact that I don't have any game. This one time I brought a girl home and I didn't know what to say, so I said, hey, do you want to watch Rocky Balboa? She said yes. And we spent the night watching this half-naked man in the cold beat it till his hands got sore. Which, interestingly enough, paints the exact picture of me and my dick in Zurich. Beat it till my hands get sore. You know, you have to agree, lots of men have it easy. They're good looking, they've got game, and they say better things at a first date than, so where do you want our kids to go to college? I swear I was this close to saying that once. But you know, the thing is, when I go on a date, I don't go for sex, I go for the human connection, right? And in this post-9/11 world that we live in, oftentimes my appearance precedes my personality. Not that I have one, but it's still a problem. I meet two kinds of women here. There's one who think I'm Santa's secret helper. And Santa, of course, is Osama bin Laden. But these are the kind of women who try to walk on the other side of the street or sit on the other end of the bus. You know, but they're not so much of a problem as the other kind of women that I see here. These are the liberals. You know, they are interested in me. But it's not a romantic interest. It's more of an anthropological interest. You know? I swear, I've been a case study for at least a dozen theses at the university. People just walk up to me and ask me questions. And that's just how it is. But these women, they ask me questions like, so, what do you feel about the portrayal of your community in Game of Thrones? There are no people of my community in Game of Thrones. Oh yeah? Well, you need to watch closer. Maybe you could learn a thing or two about your people. Fuck, dude. It's really fucked up, man. But I went on a date with this girl, and we were having dinner. And here's what she did. We are eating. She looks up, looks at me square in the eyes, and says, I want to be a terrorist, so I can terrorize brown people. Now, regardless of the inanity of that sentence, you know, I couldn't explain to her that that's not how terrorism works. Terrorists don't care who you are, where you're from, or what you look like. They just blow you up. Right? It's not like they capture you, take your blood samples, send it to the DNA lab, wait for the report to come back in, and be like, hey, Habibi, can't kill this man, huh? He's 100% Lebanese. Sorry, Habibi, please go. That's not how it works. And meanwhile, that guy who just got let off is like, thank God I didn't shit after eating all those falafels. That's not how terrorism works. So this girl, we're eating, she looks up, says, I want to be a terrorist so I can terrorize brown people. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if she was trying to threaten me or was looking up to me for advice. It's difficult. But it's great being brown, especially if you live in a non-brown country like me in Zurich, right? Because, here's an example. This will bring you to my side. I've been here for over a year, and every time on the public transport, no one sits next to me. I always have 2 seats for myself. It's fantastic, you know. It's great being a brown guy in a white country. When I walk down Langstrasse, the ladies look at me. I don't look at them, they look at me, because I'm special. Also because I have a couple of 100 francs in my hand, but whatever makes you feel special, right? But there's also a downside to being a brown guy in a non-brown country. I was in Japan last summer and I was flying from Tokyo to Okinawa, and we were flying through intense amount of turbulence, you know. Everyone's praying to the old gods and you, they're holding onto the chairs, and I don't give a shit. I'm just eating Tic Tacs and browsing through a porn magazine I picked up at the airport. You guys know this. In Japan, they sell porn in the market. And not the adult toy shops, those exist. They sell porn in the grocery store. You could go to a 7-Eleven or a kiosk down the road, and the way it goes is cucumbers, tissue paper, porn. It's a well thought out business model, you know? And it's feminist, because they care for both men and women equally, like them. So I picked one of those porn magazines up, and we're flying through intense amount of turbulence. Imagine the situation. The plane's so rocky, everyone's really scared, praying to the old gods anew, and the one brown guy on the plane removes his seatbelt, bends down to pick something up from the floor, and I swear, in that moment, I heard the loudest, most audible in the history of man. You know? I scared a jumbo jet full of people with a pack of Tic Tacs. And tell me I'm not special. But thank you guys, you were great. That's all I've got for tonight. Great idea.